39 days is not very long. You must have hardly got to know Ange Postecoglou, really.
No, not really, but that's the nature of football. Results haven't been good enough. Us as players have to take massive responsibility, and collectively as a group, we need to do more. We have to look at ourselves in the mirror. We have to get on the training pitch. We have to look for them 1%. It's fine margins, and we need to give absolutely everything we owe it to the fans to put in a really good performance on Thursday.
It's a tough game, isn't it, at the top level? An excellent result for you, but today the Forest manager has lost his job.
Yeah, they just said me. Unfortunately, it's our job. It's business where you need to win games. In case you don't win games, the consequence is for all of us exactly the same.
So Ange Postecoglou, 39 days, puts him second officially on the shortest managerial reigns in Premier League history. But Sam Allardyce, if you remember, was brought in to manage Leeds to the end of the season. So if you're looking at a permanent appointment, you could argue that it is the shortest of all time. Michael, was it inevitable today?
Yeah, I think it was in terms of the owner and his standards for the club. Remember last season, he thought he was going to get Champions League, didn't work out. They got into Europe, wasn't good enough. Obviously, Nuno gets sacked after that. But in terms of football, 5 games, 39 days in the Premier League, and you're getting sacked. It's just ridiculous to me. I don't know where we're going as football. I understand the results have not been great. But in terms of a manager trying to get his philosophy over, we knew with Nuno there was a defensive style team. Now we know Ange likes to play on the front foot. And we always talk about giving managers time to give them to put their input on what the team wants to do. And for him to get 5 games in the Premier League, for me,
with an international break in the middle of all of that, in terms of getting to know your players, do you have some sympathy for him?
Yeah, absolutely. You do have sympathy for him, yeah. I mean, the owner has to accept his share of the blame. He went out and chose this particular manager knowing that he had a completely different system to what the previous manager had got. But 5 Premier League games, you absolutely have sympathy for him. But
the names...
Maresca said it, didn't he? You know the rules in football. If you don't get results immediately, unfortunately, you're going to lose your job.
And the names in the frame, Sean Dyche, Mancini, Rafa Benitez. Some people might say, well, why would you want to go there and work under that regime? It's so uncertain.
The queue will be a mile long. It's a huge football club. There's only 20 jobs available in the Premier League. Everyone wants to come in the Premier League. And I'm pretty sure the owner already would have spoken to at least 5 or 6 of those big names.
OK, well, let's talk about what happened in the match, because in the first half, actually, Forest had quite a few good chances, and it took Maresca to make some changes for Chelsea to get...
Yeah, it didn't work for them at all. I mean, Forest had some really, really good chances, didn't take them. We're all sat thinking we all know what's going to happen, and particularly in forward positions, it didn't work for Chelsea. Got Santos and Pedro there. Pedro was the 9, but on these occasions he actually came short into those positions, and the only time it worked was the last minute of the first half. Didn't work here at all. They weren't linking up at all, and the manager's obviously looking and thinking, I'm going to change it. This is the one occasion in the first half it did. Pedro goes short, Santos goes in behind. That was their best chance, probably their only chance in the first half, and he thought, you know what, it's not working, I've got to change it. So not only did he bring Gittins and Caicedo on, so add a bit of solidity, particularly in the midfield, he brought Guiu on. And you can see the difference now there. Pedro's now playing predominantly in the 10 role. Guiu's the centre forward and he's running in behind. And all of a sudden, it changes. They're now playing on the front foot. They're now getting chances in the final third. That turns into a free kick, which they then get turns out they get the goal from it. Similar thing again. Look, Guiu's coming short for that ball, but he's actually asking the question in behind. It's such a clever run. He doesn't get it the first time. But you can see, again, look at where he ends up, again making it difficult for the Forest defence. And they're having to think again all the same. Now, just watch this, how it worked. You can see Pedro knows exactly where he is. OK, he chooses not to play him on that occasion. But he then gets the ball back. And again, that's a clever ball and a pass. They work it well, they get the free kick, and they score again from the free kick. It's well worked from James and from Neto. But Chelsea, I think, were without doubt much, much better for those changes at half-time, more on the front foot, and created certainly more chances. And as we've spoken about, we know what happened after that.
Yeah, and they did have chances in the first half, and obviously Marinakis had seen exactly everything he wanted to see there.
I think Yates says it in his interview. I think it's a collective for Forest, and they did have a lot of chances in that first half, and that was the difference. In the end, it was quality. I know the result now doesn't look great for Forest, but if you actually watched the game, if they would have took a few of those chances, it could have been a different outcome.
And so many new players brought in over the summer, obviously, and then Nuno leaves, and then obviously, as you said, there's not very much time for Ange, and then a new manager's going to come in and have to work with those players and try and get the team to be cohesive. It feels, doesn't it, almost counterproductive.
Especially when it's a different style. We know that it's a completely different style to what Nuno had. Now I know the results at the end of last season didn't go as well as they wanted, but it's a completely different style. A lot of those players were brought in for that particular system and worked and loved that system. It was always going to take time to change, but we know you haven't got that. But still, 5 games is crazy.
Well, it moves fast, doesn't it? Who knows what the next 24 hours is going to bring there. Yeah. OK.
About Nottingham Forest, we will be hearing the post-match thoughts of Ange Postecoglou as well, still to come on the show today. But Glenn, at half-time, you said that Chelsea had to wake up. Let's give some credit to them for the way they came out in the second half and for the changes as well that Enzo Maresca made.
Yeah, as I said, he sat upstairs today because he couldn't be down on the bench. He's looked at it and gone, I've got to make changes. And sometimes you have a bit of clarity from up there. He's gone down and he's been spot on as a manager. He's made the real key changes. I think Casado coming on gave them that little bit of strength and gave them that sort of, if you like, everyone was giving him the ball and they knew the ball was safe. Whereas in the first half, they looked shaky. They kept giving the ball away. They were unforced errors that Forest didn't punish Chelsea at. And you just think, well, got to calm down here, Chelsea. And he went on there and played very calmly, just got everyone around. Didn't do that much with the ball, but it was just that security feeling that you felt second half. And they got better and better and better, Chelsea.
And Mark Guillot as well, I think he gave them something else.
Yeah.
I think João Pedro could drop deep and get on the ball a little bit more and control the game, and I thought he gave him a little bit going forward as well.
Has it sort of shifted your view of them at all as title challengers, Peter?
No, it's not shifted it. No, I classed them that before the game. I think the result against Liverpool was massive for them. If they're winning games as comfortably as they have today, with the amount of injuries that they've got, Josh Acheampong as well was fantastic coming in today, and this man as well.
Pedro Neto, who joins us now. Good to see you, Pedro. Peter was actually singing your praises at half-time, saying that you were the biggest threat for Chelsea, the most likely to cause problems, and you popped up with an assist and a goal in the second half. How do you sum up your own performance and the way the team played today?
No, I thought in the beginning of the game we started well. But after that, it was a little bit difficult for us. As you can see, they had opportunities. I think they were a little bit on top of the game. And as always, I like to step up on these kind of moments. And I always try to help the team as much as I can. And then in the second half, I knew that they couldn't come with the same energy that they had in the first half. I thought we were going to control more the game, and hopefully I could help the team.
How important was it just to keep that momentum going after finishing on such a high before the international break with that win over Liverpool?
No, it was really important, to be honest, because after the international break on the last month, we didn't start really well. We didn't win the 3 games that we had, and it was really important to start this way, to come with this difficult pitch here with this environment is very difficult. So we are really happy with that.
Can I just ask what the manager said at half-time? Obviously, it's difficult for him to be up there in the stand, but obviously he made 3 substitutions. Was there a big shift in the second half as well?
Oh, it's like you were saying. We needed to change some things. We need to be more aggressive. We need to be more aggressive on defensive ways as well, to keep more the ball. I think we didn't did that on the first half, and in the second half, as you can see, we keep more the ball. We scored 3 goals, and we are really happy with that.
Pedro, you play on the right-hand side with your left foot coming in, but do you like being sometimes on that left-hand side where you can go on the outside and get crosses in with your natural foot?
Yeah, I will be honest. I feel comfortable to play both sides. If you ask me if I have a favourite one, of course I will not lie. I would say right side is the side that I prefer the most. But
yeah.
as I say, I like to play both sides and help the team. I already play as a striker as well, and if I have to play left back, right back, I will always.
I know if I'm playing here, I'd much prefer you on the left-hand side. Oh, with what a ball and a great header. Let's be pleased for Josh as well.
Yeah, really pleased, because he's working a lot. He did a fantastic game against Liverpool, and today he did a fantastic game as well.
How big a talent do you think Josh is?
No, he can be a top talent. I think he has to continue to work. I always am in his foot, joking with him that he has to be more aggressive. And today he did a fantastic job, and I'm really happy for the goal.
You're such a young side, right? But how far can this team go? I mean, is this season too early to be talking about challenging for the title?
I will be honest with you. I like the way that we did last season. We go game by game, day by day, and that is the thing. We have to live in the present. We have to keep working hard to not to show to the people, but to show to ourselves what we can do.
And then you got on the score sheet yourself as well. Did you just see that gap?
No, I will be honest. Before the last game, if we had a free kick, me and Reece, we spoke about that. And in this match, he said to me, I asked him, do we go to the side of the keeper? And he told me, no, we go back to the same side. And as you can see, he gives a step to the right side, and here,
Just a little shift of the ball. And Jesus comes out of the wall. He makes a gap, and you find the gap perfectly.
No, because we saw clips from teams as well already. And normally the goalkeeper always, when you give this kind of roll ball, he always gives a step to the right to try to watch the ball or to win a little bit of space to go to the same side. And Reece said to me, no, we put on the same side because for sure the ball will go in, and we are really happy with that.
You've started every Premier League game, every Champions League game so far. It almost feels like you've made yourself unbenchable for Chelsea. What do you think has been key to your consistency in the team?
I think work hard every day. Like I said, I work every day to be the best I can, and I will continue to do that to help the team.
And when you came off, Estevao came on. I just want to ask you a little bit about him because he's made a big impact already at such a young age. What have been your impressions of him since he signed for the club?
It's a really good kid. It's a kid that wants to learn, and you can see the happiness on his football. And I think it's very important for the team to have a guy like this as well, to like João Pedro as well. And we are really happy to have him on the team.
Pedro, thanks very much for coming out to join us. Congratulations on the win.
Well
done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pedro Neto there, goal and an assist in that win. And it is a win for Chelsea, a defeat for Nottingham Forest, which has led to the sacking of Ange Postecoglou. The club have already announced that the manager has been sacked. This is the statement. Nottingham Forest Football Club can confirm that after a series of disappointing results and performances, Ange Postecoglou has been relieved of his duties as head coach with immediate effect. The club will make no further comment at this time. Well, we know the owner isn't a man for patience, but that was a very quick reaction today. Peter, your response?
Yeah, I think the decision was made the minute he left his seat. I think it was the empty seat spoke volumes. I think myself and Glenn were discussing off air. It was pretty obvious that the decision was going to be made. The fact that it's been made quite so soon after the game, I thought he might have let the dust settle a couple of hours. But this chairman certainly doesn't mess about.
What was the point, Glenn, where you felt there was no way back?
Well, I think when he left the stadium. I don't know if he left the stadium, he might have gone into a box.
He went into his box, actually, didn't leave the stadium.
To leave his seat there after 60 minutes, it weren't like it was 85 minutes. I think that was a statement in itself, really, in many ways. But like Peter, I'm surprised he's done it so quickly after the game. Let the dust settle and let Ange sort of have a little bit more pride and going out. But this is football. Eight games. All right, to the next one.
Do you think it's a ludicrous amount of time to be making a change, Peter, after 8 games in charge?
I think, I mean, you'd expect more. I mean, it's really difficult for Ange, but I do think the results were there. And I think the way the crowd were, there was a kind of almost a toxic atmosphere before the game. They've all left the stadium. I do think it was beginning to be a real problem. I don't think results would have got better quickly. It's probably the right decision, although it does seem incredibly unfair after just 8 games. But even when he was hired, I mean, his beliefs and his philosophy was so different to what Nottingham Forest had done so well in the previous season. I think everyone in football was a little bit surprised by the appointment being chalk and cheese. It was so different to Nuno, and they had great success under Nuno.
Given that, do you think he was almost doomed from the start?
No, not from the start. I mean, even today they should have been and could have easily been 2-0 up. With the chances, that's down to the players. Ange can't be blamed for that, the misfiring in front of goals. So they get a 2-2 draw out of this, or they win 2-1. he wouldn't have been sacked. It would have been a little bit of a footing to then a stepping stone to try and grow and get more confidence, get the crowd back on his side. They're the small things. They're the dividing line. So whoever comes in at this football club as manager knows he's got 8 games. He's going to be given 8 games, is he, to make a success of it? And that doesn't seem right to me. It really doesn't.
I do also think it's a great job. You know, it's a side in Europe at the moment with fantastic players, and it's a great job for someone to get the teeth into.
For who? Who will be getting that job? Obviously, there's been all of those stories about Sean Dyche during the international break. There's obviously lots of reasons for that. He wouldn't need any compensation. He lives close by. He's got Ian Woan and Steve Stone, club legends, alongside him. So you can see why those links are being made. But do you think he would be a suitable replacement?
Yeah, I do. I think it's whether or not he can get a long-term deal. I mean, you know, I've worked with Sean Dyche, and I absolutely love working with him, and Ian Woan and Steve Stone as well, are absolute legends at the club. If the club needs a lift of any point, which it probably does at the moment, those 2 players coming in alone is going to lift the spirits of this place. Absolute legends of Nottingham Forest, and Sean Dyche has a proven track record of in the Premier League, and you know, they're in a situation now where you're looking towards the bottom rather than the top. Who better to steer the ship than Sean Dyche?
They could end up in the bottom 3 this weekend. Would that be seen as a sort of firefighting appointment if that was made?
Well, I don't think Sean would look at that if he came. I think it's an obvious choice, the people that he's got and bringing him with him to get the crowd back on the side straight away, instantly. Whoever comes in, the one criteria, they've got to get results, and they've got to get them quick. Now, that is pressure in itself. And if you don't get them quick, how long is the owner going to give them? Again, is it 8 games? So, you know, Sean would know, or whoever comes in would know, actually, we're up against it. Result-wise, we've got to get results. And, you know, if he goes 3 or 4 games without a win, how long does that one last again? So there's no continuity with what the owner's actually done. But it's within his own rights to do it, of course. It's his football club. But I'm thinking from a manager's point of view, it's impossible to... He hasn't had a pre-season. Amorim kept saying when he went into Man United, I need a pre-season, I need a pre-season. Well, he's had a pre-season, and perhaps, you know, you haven't seen that much change. That's a different story. And he's still in his job.
Absolutely. And said in his press conference yesterday, where he was making a very passionate defence of himself, that talked about the way he's viewed, which prism he's viewed with, and said, I don't fit in, not here or anywhere. Do you think he is sort of judged differently, unfairly? Why do you think he said that?
No, I just think last season, I think there was a lot of frustration, certainly from Tottenham fans, about not being adaptable, not changing, and maybe not seeing certain things in games where it felt like it was crying out for them just to stop going forward, you know, and the high line was obviously something that was very well documented. I think that's just where the frustration was creeping in, was, you know, we were losing games, Spurs were losing games, and continued to play the same way. And I think, you know, he's come in here and kind of stuck to those beliefs, a very possession-based game, and all of Forest's success of last season, I don't want to keep harping on about last season, but was built on the counter-attack. I mean, he didn't play Hudson-Odoi today. Obviously, Elanga was sold, but that pace in those wide areas and the counter-attack in football was the reason they're successful. And obviously, there was none of that today. It was very central. It was very congested. You know, although they had chances, it was very much of Chelsea creating their own problems, really.
Well, pretty much was our final sighting of Ange Postecoglou as Forest boss, because he was sacked just 18 minutes after the game ended. He didn't even do any post-match interviews. Righty, what did you make of the decision from Nottingham Forest to part company with him? 6 defeats in 8 matches.
Well, I wasn't surprised it was going to happen. You know, it was just a matter of time it was going to happen, because they made a big decision in getting rid of Nuno Espirito Santos. So I knew that the way it was going for Ange, there's no way he's going to survive this even if he lost this game. I didn't think it would have happened this quickly. I thought definitely before Christmas, more close to Christmas, but you know, we're dealing with Marinakis, and he's just, you can see he's weren't even in his seat. Went down to sack him straight off the bat. But you do feel for him. I thought he took the job very quickly, and Marinakis. So, unfortunately, he's lost his job.
Yeah, it was a tough job for him to go into, given the way Nuno had been doing, the way the fans had taken to Nuno as well.
Yeah, the whole thing was a mess. That's the only way you can describe it is a mess, because Nuno done a fantastic job for them last season, and then this season, maybe there were a couple. I think the game before he got the sack, they lost to West Ham, but I think that was a situation between what was going on. But to sack him when the fans absolutely loved him, getting him into Europe, and then bringing in Ange, who had a really poor Premier League campaign. Yes, he won the Europa League, and you can't take that away from him. But his league form at Spurs last season was atrocious. So to sack Nuno, to bring him in, and then they sacked him after 8 games, the whole process has just been a mess.
OK, well, let's hear it from the Forest captain now. Ryan Yates spoke after the game, just after he'd heard the news of Ange Postecoglou being sacked.
Ryan, obviously Ange Postecoglou been sacked straight after the final whistle here after the game. Just first of all, what are your immediate reactions?
I think we're just really disappointed with the situation in general. We haven't been good enough on the pitch, results haven't been good enough, and that's the nature of football. We need to move on. We've got a massive game on Thursday, and we need to regroup, stay together, and do everything we can. We owe it to the fans now, and everyone just needs to stick together at the club and get that result.
How did you find out?
I think just through the dressing room. I was out doing some running, came back in, and people told me.
So he didn't speak to you or the team after the game, or he did?
Yeah, he did. He addressed us after the game. Just said how disappointed he was with the result and parts of the performance. And like I say, we need to move on really quickly. The games are coming thick and fast now for us with Europe as well. So like I say, we need to stick together more than ever and get a result.
Did you still, as a group, have the belief that he was the man that could turn this around for Forest?
Absolutely. We've had amazing belief in the dressing room for a long, long time, and it's fine margins. Things haven't gone our way, but at the end of the day, us as players on the pitch have to take responsibility.
He's right, they have got to turn things around very quickly. Fixtures coming thick and fast. But look at that, the second shortest managerial reign in Premier League history, and the fastest if you count ones that have happened mid-season. But we know Marinakis is decisive, and when he doesn't think things are right, he changes things.
He does, and I was there for the Les Reed one at Charlton, funnily enough, and we knew as players in the dressing room, for 7 games I think he lasted, and you just knew that something wasn't quite right, and I got that sense looking at Nottingham Forest with the players, the way that they played under Nuno compared to Ange Postecoglou. We had conversations in the dressing room saying, the way we're playing, it's not right. He's playing players in the wrong position. We're playing a system that doesn't suit us. We wasn't good enough on the ball as a team, but we wanted possession football, and you knew it was going to be it wasn't going to end well. And certainly when you look at what Ange is doing with this Nottingham Forest team that are used to playing a kind of pragmatic style, playing wide open football was never going to work.
I thought, like you rightly said there, Dee, with his form at Tottenham, I was very surprised. I was obviously very surprised at Nuno. Massive decision from Forest to get rid of Nuno, but then for them to go for Ange, and like you mentioned, that the fans weren't too... I thought that if they're going to get rid of Nuno, they're going to bring in a name, an experience that's going to give the fans something, because they've just lost somebody that they kind of took to a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes in now, So, I feel for the Forest fans, they're great fans. So they need to be stabilised now. I think that's what they need, some stability.
There is still so much kind of to play for this season. Let's not forget they're back in Europe. They've got a huge game against Porto, and then some big games to come. Inform Bournemouth, Manchester United, then Leeds and then Liverpool. Yeah,
it's a difficult run. They've got some games there that they can win. And we saw them last season go toe-to-toe with some of the big teams in the Premier League, going to Anfield and winning. So we know it's there, and we know they're capable of them. But as Wright said there, whoever comes in next, it has to be a stable manager. And they've got to listen to the fans. I'm not saying the fans should pick the next manager, but I think you have to kind of go, OK, kind of read the room. If the fans are almost not behind the manager appointment that they're putting in, you have to go, OK, maybe he's not the right situation, because you want someone coming in with that feel-good factor. That's what Nottingham Forest need.
I don't think Marinakis is the kind of person who's going to listen to the fans. He's left his seat and left and went and done what he's got to do. And he's somebody, I'd be petrified to work for someone like him.
Who do you think, what type of manager should Nottingham Forest get? As it stands at the moment, we're hearing reports that Roberto Mancini and Sean Dyche are being linked with the post.
Well, you know something, if you're going to pick one out of those two, Sean Dyche, I know very well, he's a nice man and everything, but I think that they probably would need a Mancini kind of type manager, simply because if Sean Dyche comes in, you don't know how the Forest fans are going to take to that, because, they've lost somebody that they really like, and they've got somebody else that they didn't really like, and then they're going to get Sean Dyche and they're going to talk about what kind of football. I think they need a kind of a Mancini, a kind of appointment.
The stature, like
and his experience, what he's capable of doing. You know, they need that kind of manager.